It was just another bustling morning at Lexington First Bank until an elderly man in ragged clothes shuffled through the grand doors, his deep-set eyes filled with quiet determination. "This bank is mine," he announced in a voice that barely rose above the chatter of customers and employees. The room fell into stunned silence only for it to explode into laughter seconds later. An old man owning this prestigious bank. Ridiculous. But the smirks faded when he unfastened the heavy canvas sack on his shoulder, revealing something that would change everything. Leonard Hayes, the bank's security chief, was the first to react. A former police officer with an intimidating presence. He immediately stepped forward, his stance rigid. "Sir, you need to leave." Now, the elderly man, Samuel Carter, did not flinch, dressed in a patched brown coat, worn-out boots, and a hat that had seen better days. He looked like someone who had walked 1,000 miles carrying the weight of the world. Bank tellers exchanged amused glances. A young woman behind the counter, Emma Clark, whispered to her colleague, another vagrant looking for a handout. The bank manager, Richard Dawson, stood near his office, watching the scene unfold. He wasn't laughing, he was calculating. There was something about the old man's composure that felt unsettling. Samuel took a deep breath. 50 years ago, I built this bank with my own hands. You can laugh all you want, but this place belongs to me." A fresh wave of chuckles spread across the lobby. But this time, there was a nervous edge to it. Leonard moved in. "All right, sir, let's go. I won't ask again." Samuel did not resist. Instead, he reached into his bag. Leonard tensed, his hand instinctively going to his holster. From the sack, Samuel pulled out a ledger leather-bound, old, and filled with pages so delicate they looked like they could crumble at a touch. He placed it on the nearest desk, his fingers trembling not with fear, but with anticipation. Richard Dawson, drawn by curiosity, stepped forward and flipped open the ledger. His expression changed almost immediately. His face, usually a mask of authority, paled as he scanned the aged documents. The ledger contained records, handwritten agreements, financial transactions, original ownership documents, and Samuel Carter's name was everywhere. "This is impossible," Richard muttered under his breath. Samuel's voice, though quiet, carried through the space. "In 1973, I co-founded this bank with Thomas Whitmore. We built it from the ground up. But back then, men like me, poor, black, unseen, were easy to erase. When the bank became successful, I was forced out. My name removed from every record. I fought for justice, but power and money spoke louder than my voice." The silence in the room was deafening. A few customers had begun recording on their phones. Employees who had sneered at Samuel minutes ago now stared at the ledger, their faces stricken with uncertainty. Richard turned to Leonard. "Call Thomas Whitmore's family." Now, within the hour, Alexander Whitmore, the current chairman of Lexington First Bank and the son of Thomas Whitmore, arrived, flanked by 2 lawyers. His presence alone reeked of confidence, power, and entitlement. He took one look at Samuel and scoffed. "This man is delusional. My father founded this bank. There is no record of him anywhere." Richard hesitated before pushing the ledger across the table. "Actually, there is." Alexander flipped through the pages, his smirk slowly disappearing. The documents were undeniable proof records of Samuel's investments, construction blueprints, legal papers, every shred of evidence needed to prove his claim. But power does not surrender easily. Alexander straightened. "This changes nothing. You have no legal standing. These papers won't hold up in court." Samuel's eyes never wavered. "You can fight me, but you can't erase me again. The world will hear my story." The employees, the customers, the onlookers, everyone could feel the shift in the room. Alexander gritted his teeth. "You think some old ledger will bring down a bank this powerful? You think people will care? But they already did." Cameras were recording, social media was buzzing, and the weight of truth was heavier than money. The next morning, Lexington First Bank trended worldwide. Journalists swarmed the building, Samuel Carter's story, the man who had built a bank only to be erased, was on every news channel. Under mounting public pressure, an independent investigation was launched. The evidence was overwhelming. The bank's executive board had no choice but to acknowledge the truth. Samuel Carter was reinstated as the rightful founder of Lexington First Bank, but he did not demand compensation. Instead, he took the podium at a press conference and said, "This was never about money. It was about justice. It was about ensuring that history does not repeat itself. If we allow the powerful to erase the truth, then no one is truly free." The applause that followed was thunderous. As for Alexander Whitmore, he resigned in disgrace, and Leonard Hayes, the security chief who had threatened Samuel, was fired for misconduct. Injustice, no matter how deeply buried, has a way of resurfacing. Power may control narratives, but truth will always find its voice. Samuel Carter walked away the day not with wealth, but with something far greater, a name that could never be erased again, and the world would never forget his story.